Today what I wanted to discuss is the power of positive thinking, and it is definitely a power. It's almost like a superpower once you get this down. For those of you that are familiar with my channel or have watched my videos, you already know my backstory, but for those of you that are new, what happened to me was about 14 years ago, I was injured severely by an antibiotic called Levaquin that I took, and it caused widespread chronic pain, muscle weakness, mental clarity problems. I'm doing this video without notes too, so there might be some issues with that because I do have a problem with mental clarity at points, especially on certain days, and today's one of those days. So, but I had a lot of issues, and for the first long while out of that, I was just dependent on myself, trying to get through things and looking at my life forward and going, wow, I may never work again. I may never be able to support myself. I may never be able to do things that other people are doing, especially when I was bedridden. I'm looking forward to life going, there's a lot of things I'm not going to be able to do. I'm going to miss out. So with the way I had always been, I always focused on the negative parts. So of course, when this happened, extremely hopeless, only looking at negative aspects. So of course, life was very depressing at that point, and there was a lot of anxiety involved with that as well, because that's all I was focusing on. So flash forward, I used to be a Christian. I'd fallen away. I got sick. I still just tried to rely on myself instead of going to the Holy Father. But when I did come back, because he kept calling me back, when I did come back to God and the Bible, it was filled with positive thinking. Not only that, but if you're a believer of Christ, and you know that you are saved through faith and through obedience to Jesus and God, you know that you have hope in this future, because with God all things are possible. With the Holy Spirit you can gather the strength. But I don't want to make this about religion as much as I want to just be able to tell you that it's something that's discussed all over. Like if you look at anything, positive thinking is like, goal number one, is just something that's so, maybe not goal number one, but it is something that is reiterated and brought up again and again in different religions and different aspects, just because it is such a powerful thing. And like I said, it's a superpower when you're able to do this. I'm sorry, my cat's going bonkers. Stop it. But yeah, with positive thinking, the problem is that a lot of times we find ourselves in these negative thought patterns. So like I said, every time you go to a negative. So what I did was I sat down and focused on my illness, which was the biggest hurdle I think I've ever gone through. But at that point, like, that was big. That was something that was affecting me daily. And all hope was lost at that point. So what I did was I actually examined my illness, and I started looking at positive things of what this illness has taught me. So I jotted those down, and I came up with things like, I believe my compassion has increased, because now going through this, once you experience something like this, you're so compassionate to other people because you understand what chronic pain is like, or some kind of chronic illness. So I gathered that understanding. I found a deeper well in myself that provided strength. Through God, I found Him again. He provided me strength to get through the challenges I was going through. Positive aspects were that, I have a list, and I would need the list to go through all the positive aspects, but there's a lot. I was able to jot down a lot of different positive aspects of this. So, lessons learned through pain, or lessons learned through different things, is what I try to focus on. I try to focus on what I'm gathering from something that's in a positive way. So with my illness, every time I would start to think about, oh man, like this is horrible, what am I going that was my thought pattern. I would just go to my list and focus on those things. If you look at Philippians 4:8 in the Bible, it talks about focusing on the good things. So that's what I started doing. And I'll tell you, at first, that was a huge, huge, huge challenge, because every time my mind would automatically go to a negative, automatically go to the wrong thing, automatically go to the downside. And of course, then I was living in a state of depression. I was, anxiety, because I was anticipating all these things to happen that actually never came to pass, or if they did come to pass, it was only because I was in that state of mind. So a few years back, I worked at developing the thought of positive thinking, and like I said, every time a negative would come in, I would turn it into a positive. I would find the positive light in everything. So with time and continuing to work at that, and it is work, I was able to start bringing myself out of what I was in, this dark place that I was in, this hopeless place. I have hope now. I'm focusing on positives of what I've learned through this, how I can help people because of this, and it's brightening my life. Once you're able to start knocking down the negatives in your life and focus on positives, the world is such a brighter place. It's incredible. If I were to, have spoken to you 4 years ago when I was in that bad place, I was a different person. I don't even know if I had much feeling left in my body, just because I was so wrapped up in what was going on inside of me and all of these problems I had, that I was not of help to anybody, and I was only hurting myself. So with anxiety, with depression, focusing on positive aspects of even your depression. What does your depression give you? You can focus on that. Positives are the light, and the negatives are the dark. So if you want to live in the dark, you're thinking negative patterns, but come into the light, because the light is awesome. It's great. And, somebody might say, well, man, you shouldn't be so happy. You have nothing. But really, I have a lot. Like, I have a lot inside of me because of this. And that's just focusing on the illness alone. But the things that it has taught me, and the time I have spent alone, thinking, soul-searching, in these 14 years, I am a much different person than I was at, 34 when this happened. So I think it was somewhere around there. But I'm such a different person from that. Not that, I think the person I was before, of course I've matured, but I have to accredit a lot of it to the positive thinking, just because that's the only way I was able to dig myself out of this hole. It was the only way I was able to get to a point where I was able to say, wow, I'm happy. I feel, it's incredible because, with that negative thinking, what did I feel every day? I was depressed, I was hopeless, and now I have positivity, I have hope. It's just a brighter world. I'm happier. I have an inner joy going now. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, for anybody that is suffering and goes into those negative thought processes, and you know who you are, changing it will be one of the most dramatic things you can do in your life. If you can change that thinking pattern, worlds open up, windows open up, it's a brighter room. And the way I recommend to do it, because it worked for me, is to take whatever you're focusing on, and even if you can't turn it into a positive in your mind, write it down on a piece of paper. Keep thinking about it, working and focusing only on the positive aspects of what is going on. Or just things that you're grateful in general. You can have a list of things that you're blessed for, to refer back to anytime you start going into that negative pattern. By doing that, that mind starts eventually, at first it's just such a challenge, but eventually you get into the pattern of where instead of hopping to the negative, you start going to the positive. And it almost becomes an automatic. Not quite automatic for me yet. I'm still working on it. It's still a work in progress daily. But since being able to do it, things have become brighter. I don't fall into those dark depressions like I did before. And I have hope that things tomorrow will be brighter. Because that's the world I'm living in right now. I'm living in this world of positivity and good things happening instead of this world of everything's bad and negative. So yes, just that's my take on this. I hope somebody listening can have the takeaway and start writing down things they're thankful for and using those as tools to start transferring your thinking to more positive things. If you do that, I believe that things that seemed insurmountable at first, or things that seemed just life in general, will be brighter. I think it makes sense. I think anybody listening to this might say, yeah, that can make sense. So, I talk to, people that follow my channel, a lot of them have been using, maybe kratom, or they've been damaged by fluoroquinolone, the Levaquin antibiotic I took. And a lot of them are kind of in this depressed state. So whether you're going through kratom withdrawals, whether you're going through physical healing, whatever the case may be, focusing on positives, what you're grateful for, changes the heart, changes the mind, and everything starts to flow. So please, any questions or comments below, anything I can help you with, please let me know. I really see such a powerful benefit, like a superpower, like I said, to thinking positively. So if you can do that, it's a brighter world, and I'm inviting you in. So come on in. That's it for this time, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please throw a thumbs up down below. If you didn't, let me know with a negative thumbs down. That's cool. But yeah, I hope this helps somebody. I really do. And if I can help you in any way, please let me know. Until next time.